I'm putting a laptop CPU in a desktop again, and I'm putting this $200 RTX 3070 into it. So a while back, I built this computer utilizing a laptop CPU into this desktop. Very unique, very interesting build, but it's a little old and I wanted to upgrade it with something modern, but I wanted to keep it in the spirit of laptop CPU in a desktop, and I found this weird thing. What I mean by weird thing is it's an integrated laptop CPU built into the motherboard, and it's from AliExpress. What makes this one interesting and special was that we took a laptop CPU from my dad's laptop and socketed it into that motherboard. But you can't really do that anymore. You can't find socketed laptop CPUs. They're all built in. And then this company from China on AliExpress takes those salvaged, soldered on CPUs and solders them into these custom motherboards. So you get a much more efficient system because laptop CPUs don't use a lot of power, and you also get something really interesting. And now the reason I really like this is that old CPU is only a 4-core, 8-thread CPU that goes down to 3 gigahertz when all 4 cores are loaded. Well, on the new one that's integrated onto this motherboard, 8 cores, 16 threads, 11th gen, 10 nanometer Intel, up to 4.8 gigahertz. This thing is an absolute monster compared to that thing. And this 3070 right here is gonna make sure that the whole system can breathe very well. Now, as with any sort of compact system, you're gonna run into issues, especially when going with something weird like this. This CPU air cooler here got really close with the RAM, with the way that the fan was. So I had to get creative with the Dremel, chop things up, find a different way to mount the fan in order for me to have just enough space for the RAM not to actually be sort of pushed over by the fan on the cooler here. But even worse when it came to mounting this is that because it's such a weird motherboard, weird CPU thing, the whole pattern to mount the air cooler, while it's mostly standard to Intel 11.5X, nothing I had for this cooler worked. And so I had to dig into some of my old hardware that I had just lying around, found one, made it work, mounted it all up, and ultimately that's why I'm leaving it on here instead of pulling the cooler off to show you guys, because it's actually kind of a pain to build it all together. But if you're wondering how it looked without any of this on it, there's an image on screen right now to show you exactly that. Hey, real quick, if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're into tech, PC hardware, and streaming, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, I stream to Twitch every Friday at 8 p.m. So if you want to talk more tech and ask about this sort of stuff, come on by. Just to round out the specs on this, I have 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. Really great thing about this is now it has modern features like USB 3.0, whereas this old motherboard in here doesn't have that, and I had to find a workaround, but no more. We're gonna upgrade to be modern, so let's build it. NVIDIA GPUs was such a premium feel. I guess all the Founders Editions since then kind of are, but this was just different back then. Well, all right. Look at that guy right there. What's even cooler, at least to me, is that I took this to a place and they soldered this DIMM on so I can put it into 16 gigs in dual channel. It did not have that before. As you can see, the slots are different color. So I think, at least to me, that as a techie person, that's pretty cool. And it worked, it was great. Okay, so I do have an I/O shield now. Can't forget that. Can't forget the I/O shield. I'm actually finally gonna have one. The old motherboard did not have one, so I ran without an I/O shield. This one came with one, so let's put it in before I forget. Oh boy.
Yeah, this feels very throwback.
Yeah. Black on black, just the way Wayne likes to shoot these.
What you need to do, how many screws do you have to screw in?
4. Oh no, hold on a second. It's like bumping here. So yeah, I actually was worried about the cooler height, but I measured it out and looked up the specs, and it fits fine. Lesson learned here. Clearly mark your extra power supply cables, because I can't find the extra cable for the GPU that's supposed to go to this power supply. All I can find are other brand ones, which is obviously risky if you've seen our video where we went against Theo Joe on stage and we talked about all that. But this is also risky, but it's a little less risky. I'm just going to power up the system to finish the build for tonight, use this Molex to 8-pin adapter.
Did it get any tighter?
No, not at all. Nope, the cable's still not messing me up. Well, the obvious issue with small form factor PCs is just trying to make everything fit, and this GPU, being a thicker type, will not fit with these two fans down here. So for now, these fans gotta go. I keep saying this, but small form factor builds can be a major pain, and yep, I'm having to unbuild this thing and redo it and reroute cables and find workarounds in order to get things to work the way that I want. And now I'm laying the case down, seat the GPU a little easier. It's a lot of fun. So if I wanted fans in the bottom here, I'd have to get low profile fans because this GPU is just too thick. Okay, right now I'm gonna plug it in to do a little test boot, or at least test power on. I wanna make sure that smoke doesn't come out of that graphics card with that adapter. It really shouldn't.
Smoke?
Yeah, you know, there's always a risk, especially using adapters, but it's more risk using the wrong PSU modular cable going into it, so I feel a little safer. Let's find out. No smoke. I think we're good. Definitely don't put a load on it though.
What?
Why would you say it like that?
I like how the open side was towards me and the flames would have shot this way.
Now with everything mostly put back together, let's run some benchmarks. But the benchmarks you're gonna see are with the proper cable, not this adapter, because I really don't wanna risk anything like I keep saying. So let's see what it does. So my goal with this computer is for it to be my LAN party PC, my ultimate LAN party PC. And it sort of served that function before, but then I got a laptop with the 2060 and that was way more convenient to use than this. But lately, especially at 1080p, because you know we'll get great performance without too much of a problem, but lately games haven't been running as well as I liked, and so that's why I decided to just massively overhaul the hardware in the system, and now it's going to become my new main LAN party PC, but also my living room HD PC. But it's just overpowered and awesome now. So modern era computers have a lot of power, sure, but lots of them use so much power, it's crazy, and they're difficult to cool. Cool thing with this is the fact that it's using a 45-watt laptop processor. And that's what was awesome about this one, but this was a 4-core 8-thread at 3 gigahertz laptop CPU that uses 45 watts. This one also uses 45 watts, 16 threads, so that's 8 cores, up to 4.8 gigahertz. And the old weakness that these had was that they didn't have a lot of L3 cache, and as you can see with AMD Ryzen X3D CPUs, that really matters. This one has a lot more L3 cache than this, which means gaming is going to be awesome on this one. It's not going to use a ton of power, and as a result, it's a really awesome system to have for on the go or as a HTPC in the living room or however. And also the fact that the motherboard is using a sort of reused soldered CPU onto it, we're also reducing e-waste that's floating around out there, because that likely came from a returned or bad system that was bad for other reasons. And so reduce, reuse, recycle, right? Here we are. So the beefy system is done. The performance was awesome. If you guys like this video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and that bell so you don't miss a single upload. Also, I stream to Twitch every Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/coalitionchris. So if you want to talk more laptop CPUs and desktops, come on by. Let's talk tech. Anyways, that does it for me. My name is Chris. I've been your computer technician for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video or in the next stream.